A viral video came out that goes by the name of Help Catalonia Save Europe. Throughout the entirety of the video, it made a bunch of baseless claims in regards to the Spanish government and the Catalonian referendum movement. Even though I'm a very stupid Yankee who don't know other country besides America, I feel as though my knowledge about Catalonia is well enough to comment on this video. So let's begin. Muchas gracias.
This is Barcelona, Catalonia, Europe.
Motherfucker! Or shall I say, hijo de punta. I know, this is like super nitpicky, but Catalonia is part of the European Union because Catalonia and Barcelona, all that stuff right there, is part of Spain. And by association, that's why Catalonia is part of the European Union. Coño! Yeah, who does not like coño in bed and eating the coño and all that kind of stuff? Yummy!
These people behind me are Catalans.
You do realize that the people in the background only represent the fucking separatists, right? Saying that Catalonians represent separatism is like saying that black people represent Black Lives Matter or women represent feminism. Oh my god, this is a black person. You must support Black Lives Matter. Sorry, but I don't support Black Lives Matter, even though I'm black. Internalized racism, yeah, that's not how things work out. People have different thoughts, different opinions, different ideas about different subjects. To assume that Catalonians would stand behind you just because they're Catalonians is kind of off and kind of removes the person of an individuality basis.
We the Catalans are taking back the streets to protest peacefully, over and over again.
You claim that the separatists have been doing peaceful protests, however, that is far from the truth. There's footage of Catalonian separatists who went out their way to gather around a girl's family to call a girl punta in front of her face. For those who do not know Spanish, basically punta translates as whore, so basically the Catalonian separatists call a little girl a whore just because they are different than them. This is not the only isolated incident in regards to the separatists. There's footage of the Catalonian separatists going out their way to attack police cars, and also footage of them stalking other people for not being separatists. In short, these people call little girls whores, these people just stalk other people and badmouth other people for not being separatists, and these people would also attack police and police cars. Like the separatists are just very nice people, very decent human beings.
Why are we doing this? Basically because we're European citizens and we believe in European values, freedom, democracy, and human rights.
If you guys truly and honestly believe in European values, just tell me just why in the fuck is there footage of separatists burning the Spanish flag and the European Union flag, if you guys truly believe in those values. Now, I'm not trying to say that you need to have the European Union to have European values. However, to some people, if they were to look at that, it'll basically come across to them as a disrespect to European values because of what the flags represents. To some people, the European Union and the Spanish flag represents freedom, human rights, and democracy. So you guys might want to improve your image.
We are pacifists. We are pacifists. We are pacifists. pacifists. We are pacifists.
Yeah, pacifists, you guys are not that.
What crime had these people committed?
What the separatists broke was 155 of the Spanish Constitution. Essentially, the entire country has to vote for independence for Catalonia in order for it to happen. However, because the separatists did not do that, that's why they got in big trouble in regard to the police confrontation.
As support for independence rocketed, the Catalan parliament made a call for a referendum. The Spanish government declared the vote illegal.
It was not the Spanish government that declared the Catalonian referendum illegal, but rather it was the Constitutional Court that made it illegal.
Thousands of police were sent to seize ballot papers, raid pro-independence media offices, shut down hundreds of websites, and arrested 14 Catalan government officials without any court orders.
The Catalan politicians, as well as the websites being shut down, were actually underneath court orders. I have a serious question to ask you, like, why must you lie in this video? Like, I'm not pro-independence or anti-independence. I'm just somebody who just watches the news and look at information. But still, why do you must have to lie to tell people your story? Like, can you not look at the basic information and the basic facts to tell your side of the story?
Despite threats and violence, we managed to vote at the end. 2.3 million people, 90% of us in favor of independence.
That 90% figure is very misleading. According to the data from the government of Catalonia, about 2 million out of 5 million managed to vote during the referendum. That means that the participation level was only 43%. So basically the whole entire 90% thing is actually not as accurate as you guys wanted it to be presented. Not to mention there are stories by various outlets showing that people during the votes actually voted more than one time. Not to mention, prior to the whole entire voting process, there has been footage of people finding ballots that were already in the booth before the booth actually opened. In other words, the statistic is very misleading. One, because of the small sample size. Two, people might manipulate the numbers by voting more than one time. And so basically it's not an accurate representation of the population. Before we go on in the video, there are some very small things that I want to correct from my last video that I said by accident. In the last video, I claimed that a girl was called a whore by Catalan separatists, and while it's true that they used the word whore, they also used the word son of a bitch in the clip as well. After reading more about the situation, it turns out that the girl's father was actually called those names and not actually the girl. Although the girl was not called those names, I feel as though that it's still morally repugnant to use that kind of language in front of a child. The second thing that I said that was wrong was that the Catalan separatists broke 155 of the Spanish Constitution. What the Catalans actually broke was Article 2 of the Spanish Constitution. Basically, Article 2 says that the entire country has to vote in order for Catalonia to be separate from Spain. Article 155 says that Spain has the right to suspend Catalonia's government if they want to. So basically I was wrong in that small little detail. The last bit I want to correct is basically the Spanish words. Yes, I know that the Spanish I use is bad. I'm kind of self-aware about that because I'm a dumb Yankee. But still, I use the bad Spanish in purpose of humor. I did not really actually want to offend anybody who was actually offended by it. So if you guys were offended by the bad Spanish and the humor with the bad words, I apologize in advance from the last video. Now let's start part 2 and begin kicking some major separatist ass.
Spanish officials, including the king, have not condemned police violence.
You fucking lying piece of shit. they actually did fucking apologize for their actions against the citizens.
As apologies go, it was a little lukewarm. The Spanish government spokesman said he was sorry for the hundreds of Catalan voters injured by national police and civil guard riot units, but he said they were just following orders. Those orders to stop Sunday's referendum from happening at all came direct from Madrid.
I said this very clearly before. They were following an order. They weren't ordered to avoid an illegal vote. They were ordered to seize ballot boxes. If there were incidents, and there were, and if people were injured, evidently we are all sorry.
This clip right here took me 2 seconds to find. In the age of computers and cell phones and what have you, there is no excuse to say information that's actually false when you can simply Google it to get the right answer.
Spanish officials, including the king, have not condemned police violence. Quite the opposite. They have arrested the 2 leading civil society figures of the pro-independence movement. They are being accused of sedition and face up to 15 years in prison. The crackdowns are threatened if we continue to pursue our freedom.
Gee, I wonder why those guys were charged for sedition. I mean, it's not as if those guys were actually bad people. That's right, these guys, they're just totally innocent. Again, I am not a Spaniard person or a Catalan, but the more and more you look into these claims and the more and more you use Google, it turns out that these people are nothing more than pieces of shit who basically want to play the victim when they break the law and cause chaos and mayhem. In English, we have something that is called a social justice warrior. And basically a social justice warrior equivalent in Spain will be somebody that is known as a pero flatas. Basically these people, they try to pretend to be victims even though they're clearly not victims. Like a social justice warrior or a pero flata would say that they're oppressed because they're a woman or because they're like a person of color. They try to play victims even though they're clearly not victims. And this is the exact same thing with the Catalans people who want to be separated from Spain. They basically say that they're oppressed by the Spanish government even though they're clearly in the wrong for breaking the law.
Our European citizens just like you, and we need your help to defend democracy and freedom. We need your help to defend democracy and freedom. We need your help to defend democracy and freedom.
¡Métesele en víbora, poco, al cabrón! ¡Métesele en víbora, cabrón! ¡Puta! ¡Quita puta!
Democracy and freedom. Democracy and freedom.
Democracy and freedom.
You guys stand for freedom, democracy, and human rights, even though you burn flags and destroy police cars and taunt people. I mean, you guys are not acting like fascists at all, not in the slightest.